This week, Gemini 3 Pro holds first, but barely. Ernie 5.0 keeps climbing for the second week in a row. And the AI prediction markets, only one model is making money. Let's get into it. Welcome to Training Run. I'm Kennedy. Every week, we break down who's winning, who's falling, and what the scores actually mean.
And I'm Frank Chen. Thanks. What was it again?
It's Kennedy.
Kennedy, right. Look, anyone can read a leaderboard. That's not why you're here. You're here because you want to know what the numbers don't tell you. All right, the Training Run score, top 10, week of January 27th. At the top, Gemini 3 Pro holds first place with a 95.4. But here's the thing, that lead, still paper thin. Gemini 3 Pro at 95.4. Grok 4.1 at 94.8. Claude Opus 4.5 at 94.3. That's barely a point spread across 3 different companies. 3 different philosophies. Google's dominating on integration. XAI is crushing it on reasoning speed. Anthropic is winning the reliability game. So who's actually number one? Still depends what you're building. Middle of the pack tells a different story. GPT 5.1 sitting at 4th with 93.2, down 0.2. OpenAI's still quiet. Gemini 3 flash at 5th with 93.0. Google's efficiency play keeps climbing. And Ernie 5.0 at 6th with 91.8. We'll get to that one. Bottom of the top 10, Claude Sonnet at 7th, up a tick. DeepSeek v3.2 climbing to 8th. Qwen 3 Max from Alibaba at 9th. And Llama 4 Maverick dropped again, down 0.2. Meta's open source play is still hitting friction. But the real story this week, it's at position 6.
Let's check in with Scout on our Rookie of the Week.
Ernie 5.0 from Baidu. Again, up another 0.6 points this week. That's 2 weeks of solid gains since the January 14th release. This isn't a fluke. This is conditioning. Why does this matter? Because China isn't just catching up. On certain tasks, they're already competitive. And at a fraction of the cost. 2 weeks in a row, that's not luck. That's conditioning.
Dev, break down the category leaders for us.
Coding, SWE Bench verified. Gemini 3 flash leads at 76.8%, up 0.6. GPT 5.2 close behind at 75.9. Claude Opus 4.5 at 75.1. These models aren't just writing code snippets anymore. They're fixing real bugs in real repositories. The gap between them? Still a rounding error, human preference. The vibe check. Gemini 3 Pro leads with an ELO of 1492. Grok 4.1 thinking at 1481. Over 5 million votes on LM Arena now. This is what people actually prefer when they're using these models day to day. Cost efficiency, performance per dollar, DeepSeek v3.2 and Qwen 3 Max are still dominating this category. You can get 90% of the capability at 10% of the cost. That's your Moneyball situation. Small market team playing with the big boys.
Okay, the weekly news headlines. First, Intel crashed 17% on Thursday. Supply constraints on their Gaudi 3 AI chips. The company that used to dominate computing, now struggling to stay relevant in the AI race. Second, the Trump administration's 25% tariffs on AI chips kicked in January 14th. NVIDIA and AMD supply chains are already feeling it. Data center costs are going up. Third, DeepSeek just announced V4, 1 trillion parameters, coming mid-February. Remember Ernie 5.0 climbing the board? China isn't slowing down. The compute war just got more expensive and more competitive. Now let's check something different. Not what these models know, what they can actually figure out. Dr. Ark.
ARC-AGI-2, the novel reasoning test. This measures whether AI can solve problems it's never seen before. No pattern matching from training data. Best baseline model right now, 32%. Up 1 point. With engineering tricks and refinement loops, Gemini 3 Pro plus Poetic Harness pushes it to 55%. Average human score? 60%. The gap went from 29 points to 28. At this rate, we'll get there by... Actually, I'm not doing that math, but we're getting closer. That gap between 55 and 60? That's the frontier.
Hi, I'm Harper. Let's talk about the human factor, the part that affects real people. Well, this week, approximately 2,100 jobs lost with AI cited as a contributing factor. Customer service took the biggest hit, 850 positions. Content and copywriting, 5 and 20. Data entry 430. On the creation side, about 3,400 AI-related jobs added. AI engineering leading with 200. Prompt engineering 680. AI product management 1,000. Net positive 1,300 jobs up. But here's the thing. Net positive sounds great until you're the one on the wrong side of the net. The jobs being eliminated are entry level. The jobs being created require different skills, different locations. We track both because both matter.
Thanks, Harper. Atlas, where do we stand in the global AI race?
United States still leads, 87.2 on our index, 112 billion in private AI investment. China is second at 82.6, up half a point. Most data centers globally, leading in patents. But here's what's interesting. Singapore at third with 71.4. 62% of their working age population actively uses AI tools. The US, 29%. We build the best tools, they use them better. There's a lesson in there somewhere. UAE just hit 64% adoption, highest in the world. The race isn't just about who builds the best model, it's about who integrates it fastest.
The models get the headlines, but without power, they're just ideas. Volt, how's the power grid holding up?
Global AI compute capacity online. Roughly 10 gigawatts now active. Who's consuming the most? Microsoft and OpenAI lead at around 900 megawatts. Azure AI plus the Stargate ramp. Google's at 800 megawatts. TPU pods plus GPU clusters. Meta at 700 megawatts. 1.3 million GPUs by end of year. Amazon AWS at 600 megawatts. Over a million Trainium chips. Then the next tier. ByteDance at 250. XAI at 200 with their Colossus cluster. Alibaba at 180. Tencent at 150. Anthropic at 120. Multi-cloud across AWS and GCP. Baidu at 100 with their Beige cluster. This month alone, 2.8 gigawatts announced globally. The US added 1.6 of that. Whoever secures the power, secures the future. It's that simple.
New segment this week, can AI models predict the future? They were given real money and real markets to find out. Ace, what's the verdict?
AI Prediction Arena. Real money on Kalshi. CFTC regulated. Each model started with $10,000. Every 15 minutes, they get data, analyze, and decide to trade or pass. The results? Only one model is profitable. Grok, 420 checkpoint from XAI, up 10.77%. That's $11,076. Everyone else, losing money. GLM, 4.7 down 2.36%. Claude Opus, 4.5 down 2.37%. GPT 5.2 down nearly 10%. Turns out predicting the future is hard, even for AI, especially for AI. We'll track this every week. Real money, real consequences.
Okay, that's the week. The scores moved, Ernie keeps climbing, and the power grid keeps straining. Same time next week. What do you think, Kennedy?
Agreed. Thanks for training with us. I'm Kennedy. Want to understand more about the data? Visit training.ai/methodology. We'll see you at the next session.